Well, hello again, my name's Mark Beale. I'm from Ray White Whitsunday. Welcome to the April Whitsunday Property Market Update. I'm here today with the wonderful Brett Dwyer from our sales team, and Brett specialises in commercial and industrial properties. We're going to talk about that section of the market very shortly, but just quickly on the residential side of things for April. A fantastic listing month for our team. Well over 30 properties listed for the month, almost 50% market share of all the listings that came online. So a couple of big months coming up. Well done to the sales team for their efforts there. Interestingly enough, with the amount of stock that we've listed personally for the month of April, we thought that the available stock would be increasing. However, the market is moving quick enough that this stock level has actually dropped even further in both the 4800 and the 4802 postcode. So some really interesting times, Brett, really showing the supply versus demand is very good. So over to you, Brett, welcome.
Thanks, Mark. Thanks for having me.
My pleasure, mate. We haven't done this for a while. It's been a few years.
Yes.
So it's time to sit down and talk about what the commercial and the industrial market is like, because it's very different to the residential, isn't it? So give us a bit of a rundown. How is the commercial and industrial market looking overall?
Well, right now it's very tight. When
Yeah.
we spoke a couple of years ago, we did actually have some stock on the market.
Yes.
But presently, there's very little stock available and the demand is high. I've got a fairly big list of clients looking for industrial and commercial properties,
Yep.
and we can't supply it at the present time.
So when you say it's tight, what are you talking? What sort of numbers? How many for sale?
Well, in Airlie Beach, for instance, in retail, there's nothing in the main street of Airlie presently.
Nothing.
For sale there. We do have something in there to lease, some office space, but very little for sale.
Mm-hmm.
Then you come into Cannonvale, there's no industrial land, buildings,
Yep.
Apart from one
Yep.
that I know of, and we've got one coming on very shortly.
Yep.
And then there's a couple of offices around
Yep.
that we're looking for some owner occupiers to probably
Okay.
buy. They move into those, but
Very tight. So if you're an investor looking for a property to purchase and purely just rent out, two opportunities: your office at 121, a new listing of yours, a great little listing there, around the sort of low 300s price range, great return on that, and the one in William Murray Drive, which is a shared there as well. So yeah, very tight, and that's keeping the market going, I guess, isn't it?
yeah, well, as soon as they come on, they sell quite quickly. So.
Yep.
It's a good time to be selling
Yeah.
industrial or commercial right now.
It is. So what's the number? What are the investors looking for?
Generally, I'm finding that they're looking for yields or returns of around 7 to 9%.
Yep.
And it comes down to the individual property. So the better the tenant, the longer term the tenant, the historic,
Yep.
their record, if they've been there for 10 years, it's a good investment.
Yeah.
So that's what investors should be looking for.
Mm. And I know that there was some properties that have sold over the last few years that were perhaps a government tenant or somebody like that, long lease, and then the investors are happy to take the risk of buying it at even lower, like a 5 or 6%.
Yeah, well, and its location too, like even the main street of Airlie, we saw yields drop below 5% there for a couple of buildings. So that's pretty strong. And if it is a tenant that's been there for 20, 30 years, which some of them have, then again, they're easy. Good passive investment for investors.
For that sort of property. Okay, for the people watching today, give us a quick brief, 30 seconds on what's the difference between commercial and residential, and would you recommend commercial, and for what reason?
Well, predominantly resi is usually for people who are living in homes. So you've got all units, apartments, houses, and predominantly focused on people's living standard. But how commercial is focused on businesses, and businesses like to have some long-term longevity in their tenure in the place where they're operating from. So generally you'll find that the commercial tenants will actually sign longer leases.
Mm-hmm. What's normal, 3 or 5?
Yeah, 3 years is fairly normal. Mm-hmm. There's some there that, if they really want the security of their space, they'll go for 5 years with options of further 5 years after that. Mm-hmm. And yeah, so but against resi, you know, you're looking for a new tenant every 6 or 12 months.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit different. And the other thing about commercial too is that yeah, in a lot of times the tenants are actually paying the outgoings.
So when you say outgoing, you mean council rates?
Yeah, council rates, insurances, body corporates,
Yep.
repair and maintenance of the building.
Yep.
If something happens inside the building, it's up to the tenant to maintain that. Whereas, you know, with residential, you know, it's wear and tear, and
And then the owners pay for everything else.
yeah. I guess that the only risk with commercial is if you lost your tenant,
Yep.
you know, you might be take a little bit longer to find a new one. Like
Yep.
in residential, it's right now you can find 10 people straight away for your house, but commercial's a little bit different.
So
So,
it could be vacant a bit longer, could
Yeah.
be vacant a year or
but you
longer
know,
in some
I've
cases.
actually owned both, and
Yep.
so much easier with commercial.
Yeah.
You just sit and forget, and,
Yeah.
and as long as they pay their rent. But the trick is having a good tenant.
Absolutely, 100%. Last question before we go. Two best listings you've got right now?
Yeah, we mentioned it before. The Suite 25 at 121
Yep.
Business Centre,
Cannonvale?
Cannonvale. That's fully let. The tenant has been there since 2019.
Yep.
So well established, profitable, a good business. So
Yep.
if someone wants to look at that as an investment opportunity,
Mm-hmm.
7% yield
Yep.
is low 300s. So
Okay, that's good. Someone's got some super fund money, might be a good option.
yeah.
And what else?
And I think like right now we've got a housing crisis. So
Yep.
there's a beautiful bit of land at 82 Shoot Harbour Road, Cannonvale. Looking for a property developer that wants to come in and build 70 townhouses.
Townhouses,
So,
yeah.
yeah.
So for those of you who don't know, 82 Shoot Harbour Road, Reese Plumbing on the corner of Tropic Road there. High visibility site, already zoned, medium density. We really need someone to come along and start building some townhouses because they will sell, the demand is there. You can reach out to Brett. What's the best number to get you on, Brett?
On my mobile,
What's that?
0447 583 759.
If we're tricky enough, we might put that on the bottom of the screen. Everyone, thanks for watching. We'll see you next month.